Jennifer Roberts, and I am the principal of what is now known as Rapid City Alternative Academy. That's this building. I'm blessed as an educator to be the current caretaker of this beautiful historic facility. Welcome to our school. I say that collectively because while the staff and our students here are the current proud occupants here, I suspect that nearly everyone here has a connection to this building. We hope to share lots of memories today. Let's start with a musical memory. Will you stand as the Rapid City Symphony conducted by Bruce Knowles and the Rapid City Central cheerleaders get us started with the school song, Huckleberry Hound, Let's Go Rapid City.
Thank you, cheerleaders. Thank you, mascot. Thank you, Rapid City Symphony and Bruce Knowles. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Marcy Christensen Burdick, class of 1975. Have some classmates here. Proud daughter of Nancy Lervog Christensen, class of 1953, and I'm honored to be your MC today. We are gathered to commemorate the centennial of this building, and in doing so, we're reminded about the power of place, specifically this place, whether you knew it as Rapid City High School, Rapid City Central, Dakota Middle School, or Rapid City Alternative School. It has influenced our own lives and the lives of thousands of students and teachers, staff, and family who have walked these hallways. Imagine if these walls could talk. Just imagine. They'd tell us about the day that Calvin Coolidge made history just down the hallway when he announced he was not going to seek re-election for president. They'd share memories from this stage, which has hosted Olympians, World Series champions, city, state, and national leaders of all kinds, and amazing student-run theater and music programs, all parts of our educational experience. These halls and these walls would echo with the ringing cheers from team victories of all kinds. And they would remind us of the tears when we came together, often in this place. to cope with fire, with flood, and the unspeakable loss of classmates and friends. This school and its students have been part of our personal growth and the growth of our community. Today, we honor not only this building, but all who have had a part in leading and in learning here. So what are your memories? I'd like you to start thinking about them, because in a moment, you're going to have opportunities to share them if you choose. So let's kick off some remembering. First, I had an opportunity to interview via Zoom a man who served as the 1973 student body president and retired just last year after 26 years in the U.S. Congress, including as chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Kevin Brady.
Yeah, this was really a neat event and became iconic in the community for a number of years. It was started in 1969, so that was when I was an 8th grader, by the All-City Student Council, which was Central, the student leaders of Central, Stevens, and St. Martin's. And they decided really to try to pull the community's youth together to make a difference in hunger and to raise money for local organizations that were doing really good things. So in early May in 1969, at 7 o'clock in the morning, we met at the Arrowhead Country Club. And at the end of the day, nearly 2,000 young people walked to Mount Rushmore, raising money for hunger and for local organizations. I recall at the end of the day, they made over $15,000 that first year. Most people finished, including me, although by the end of the hike, I was pretty sure it was 132 miles to Mount Rushmore. But it really was a great way to bring young people together, beautifully organized by the community as well. Over the years, that hunger hike raised more than $60,000, and it went to organizations you would hope it would: Fighting Hunger, YMCA, Boys Club, Girls Club, Big Brothers, the Attention Center, the Sioux Indian Children's Village, Sky Ranch for Boys, just really good organizations. And you may recall my senior year in 1973, we pivoted. And I was at the time president of the All-City Student Council, and we pivoted because of the flood had destroyed so much of Rapid, including Storybook Island, had just hammered it. We decided to switch to, instead of walking for donations, to do labor to fix up Storybook Island and to raise funds for them. And so it really, for that year, it was sort of a win-win. Gave us a chance as in high school and junior high to help rebuild an iconic, park in Rapid City, and also help them get back on their feet a little sooner. So I think, looking back, the hunger hike itself and how it evolved really was, it's rare to get 2,000, young people together on a beautiful spring day, to walk to work and all, but it did. It was just a great, I think, great event.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, this facility has had many lives. It also served for a while as Dakota Junior High. Michael Birkeland attended Dakota from 2004 to 2007, later graduating from Central High School in 2011. He went on to a career as a professional educator and a public servant, and he joins us today to share his thoughts and memories about Dakota Middle School. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. As Marcy just mentioned, I am Michael Birkeland, and I've been involved with Rapid City area schools for pretty much all of my life. I went to Rapid Valley Elementary and then was here at Dakota Middle School from 2004 to 2007, and then I attended the new Central High School. It's weird for me to call it that, but the new Central High School where I graduated from and then taught at for 6 years following that. Currently, as she mentioned, I am a public servant. I am serving as the Area 3 representative on the Rapid City Area Schools Board of Education. And so through all of that, I have spent a lot of time in our schools. But this building that we're in today is definitely one of my favorites. I was asked here to represent the Dakota Days, even though I've learned through this project how small of a timeline that actually was. I had no idea that that was dating all the way back to the 70s. And I was at kind of the end of its timeline before it became the Rapid City High School and Rapid City alternative academies in Jefferson and all of those other things it took on. And although I don't have any really big, cool memories here, really, besides winning the 7th grade spelling bee, mostly because everything else I tried to block out because, middle school, I do have some pretty fantastic memories of the everyday. I remember hanging out with friends behind the building before school, where that parking lot is. We used to get dropped off there in our buses. I remember trekking out to the annexes in the dead of winter, which maybe isn't the best memory, but is a memory nonetheless. And then walking outside some more to get to Tech Ed with Mr. Granberg, which is over in that building, which I forget what it's called, but it's still there. And then going outside some more to get to PE. And actually, now that I think about it, I didn't really spend that much time in this building. But I do remember some things that did occur inside of this building, like chatting with my friends by the lockers and learning how to use your locker. That's such a foundational part of a sixth grader's life. Racing from the first floor of lunch over here up to 4th floor science with Mrs. Keegan, and I was never tardy, even though we only had 4 minutes. And even having concerts in this very auditorium directed by Mrs. Hastings. I was a band kid, not an orchestra kid, so I didn't get to play with these guys. But during the Dakota years, there was certainly a lot going on outside of this particular building, but this building still stood as the foundation and the core, just as it has through all 100 years, throughout its many transformations. And even without a big memory, this building, and particularly the people in it, helped to create a million little memories that led me to where I am here today. I'm grateful our community has invested in this building and helped to keep it in the condition that it is. And I'm hopeful that we can continue to invest in our students and in our buildings to create wonderful memories, help create wonderful memories, both big and small. So thank you again for being here with us again today and for supporting Rapid City Schools.
Thank you, Michael, and we'll have a few more memories to share as the program goes on. But music has always been a pivotal part of the learning experience in Rapid City Schools. Whether you were in the band or orchestra or not, you benefited from it. I know I did personally. And as somebody who moved away for 30 years and then came back, I can tell you I did not realize how good our programs in our little town were until I moved to much bigger communities with much bigger high schools whose bands were not nearly as good as ours. Please help me welcome someone who has played a pivotal role, first as a student and then as an instructor for 40 years. Bruce Knowles, my classmate, the class of 75, who will then introduce the Rapid City Symphony. Bruce?
Yep, okay. Well, I can still walk. So what the heck? In any case, thank you for coming out this afternoon, and thank you for asking us to play. Oh, I guess it's color coded. Well, too late now. But in any case, where was I now? I'm so confused. I first knew this building. My dad came here in 1969. He was the first band director of Central High School, right when the school split, and he was here for that infamous semester when Central and Stevens did split shifts out of this building because Stevens was not done yet, and so they had to do that. So it was a very, very challenging time. But so I kind of grew up in this high school and had many, many different memories from it. And so the other thing that my dad did is that he took over the Rapid City Symphony around 1973. And in fact, that group performed some of its first concerts on this very stage and rehearsed in the band room. And so that is sort of a logical progression to what we see today with us returning home to the Performing Arts Center to perform here. This is now our home as well. So this building has meant a lot of things to a lot of different people. It's been a school. It's been a junior high, a high school, a middle school, and blah, blah, blah. And now it is both a high school and a performing arts center housing literally hundreds of artists, actors, musicians, dancers, and all kinds of different outlets for artists, adult artists and student artists in the Rapid City area. So I thought it would be appropriate if we would bring some music from a musical, from The Sound of Music. We're going to play some selections from that. It really exemplifies the culture of cooperation that we have in this building between the school and the arts organizations, both the drama guys and the symphony folks coming together to make music like we're doing a big musical. So here we go.
Bruce, thank you. Symphony, thank you. The symphony is in a moment going to have to leave, but before you do, let me ask you, any of you other than Bruce, graduates of Rapid City Central or Dakota, wave your hand or stand. Stand up. How about those of you who may have attended the dark side and other high schools in this city? Raise your hand. Thank you. We are proud of the products of the Rapid City school system. And Bruce, I want to say, we also remember your dad, Jack Knowles, and I think many of you know that the auditorium at the new Central is named after him. So, for Jack Knowles. All right, our third memory is from a member of the class of 1976, Leslie Mangusson Hildyard, who left here and went on to a groundbreaking career as a rising businesswoman for Procter & Gamble in marketing and communications. Leslie?
Hello, everyone. As she said, I'm Leslie Mangusson Hildyard, class is 1976. I know I've got one other classmate out there. My story, however, today is not about 1976. It's about 1973, and it took place here in this building upstairs in the gym upstairs. I was an incoming sophomore. I was really young for my age. I was only 14, and I think when this memory took place, I might have still been 14, if so, just barely 15. But I want to give you a little background on the lay of the land in 1973. The seniors that year would have been class of 74. Is there anyone here from 74? Okay, well, I'm telling you, they were a good class. They had a lot of school spirit. Of course, they set the tone, right? From my perspective, of course, all the guys were very good looking, and all the girls were beautiful. And we had a really good sports team. Our basketball team went 20-5. They made it all the way to the state 8 tournament, to the finals, and they lost, but we're not going to talk about that. And we also had very good music. We had a really good band. I remember the seniors had wonderful voices, strong choral, Mr. Cato, and also good musicals. So, but more than anything, they just set the tone. They had good school spirit, so we had good school spirit. Now, the other thing that was happening in 1973, there was this movie that was sweeping the nation, and it was called American Graffiti. And if you guys remember that, it starred a young Harrison Ford, Ron Howard, took place in 1962. All of a sudden, everywhere, there were sock hops. People were cruising, which we did anyway. But what really happened is the music. It was the music from the late 50s and the early 60s, and it came back a generation later to us. I mean, we were solidly in the 70s. We were into rock and roll, right? And all of a sudden, there was this music, and it was good. So that's the background. Now let's go back to the fall of 1973. My brother Bill was in the band, and he traveled with the band to Sioux Falls for a football game. And they were sitting opposite the opposing team's band, and they broke into this song. And the Central band was like, dang, this is fantastic. Mr. Knowles, that would be Dad to you. We want to learn this song. And he didn't have to look far. It was in his inventory, and the song was Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets. So the band learned it, and then they waited for their moment. Well, their moment came, it could have been this weekend. It could have been Friday. And 50 years ago today, we were having a pep assembly. Do you remember what a pep assembly is? You have them right before a football game to get yourselves all riled up. Well, it was upstairs in the gym, and it was crowded. I mean, my class alone had over 500. So you had a sophomore class, you had a junior class, you had a senior class, you had the band, you had the cheerleaders, you had the teachers. There had to be 1,700 people up there, easy. It was loud, it was crowded. And out came those senior girls to warm up the crowd, and they were full on American Graffiti. I mean, they had their jeans rolled up, the leather jackets on, they had their hairs up in ponytail. I remember they had sunglasses on, they were chewing gum. Wow. And so they launched to a couple of songs from American Graffiti. The one I remember was Barbara Ann, and I know there's some youngsters in the audience who's, ba 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 Baran, ba 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 Baran. You get the, yeah. We were primed. And then it was the band's moment, and they stood up. And I know most of you know Rock Around the Clock, but I think there's some in here that probably don't, so brace yourself, I'm gonna sing a couple bars. If you want to sing along with me and help a girl out, that would be great. If you want to play a couple notes, that would be great. It's really important to hear this, to hear the energy behind this song. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. And the place went crazy. 1,600 kids jumped to their feet. 1,600 kids started swaying and singing and dancing. And then something extraordinary happened. People couldn't stay in their seats. They jumped up, they rushed out of their seats, they stormed the floor spontaneously. There were hundreds of kids down on that gym floor. And I remember, I stayed in the stands. I remember watching. There were kids just dancing by themselves. There were kids grabbing strangers and twirling them around. And then they formed this giant conga line, and they were going all around. When the song was over, Bill said, they yelled, "Play it again, play it again." And they played it again. It was chaotic, it was mayhem, it was wonderful. And from a wide-eyed 15-year-old girl's perspective, I had never, and maybe since, seen such spontaneous, unadulterated joy. I have to tell you, I feel so lucky to have gone to school here and graduated from this building. I'm sure everyone feels this way, but I feel like I graduated in the golden age of high schools. We had the best students, we had the best teachers, music, sports, but you know what we really had the best of? We had the best school spirit. Go Cobblers!
Man, and I was there too, and I was having flashbacks think about the principal, Bill Mitchell, and the athletic director, Howard Nas, who let us do that. Nobody was trying to herd us back into our seats, so good on them. So now it's your opportunity to share your memories, and the symphony is going to be getting up and leaving as we do this because they have other engagements today. But here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to introduce yourself to somebody near you. Whether you know them or not. Introduce yourself, tell them about your connection to this building, and share one memory that's important to you. Now, this is a speed round. We're only going to take 10 minutes, so you get 5 minutes to tell your memory, and be good listeners, ask good questions of the person you're talking to. And then at 5 minutes, we'll flip it, and you share your memory with the other person. I'll give you time cues. Now, at the end of this, because we're all good Midwesterners and likely all very humble, I'm going to ask the listeners to tell their new friend's story and what amazed you about their memory, what struck you about their memory. So got it? Everybody got it? Find a partner, share a memory, flip it. We'll have 10 minutes max. Ready, set, go. So we have a couple people out in the audience with microphones, and they will come to you if you will just wave your hand. Did anybody hear a wonderful story about someone they met that they'd like to share? Looks like we have one down here.
Hello. My name is Claycy Nye. I graduated from Rapid City High School in 1967. I'm not here to share one of my memories. I'm here to share my mother-in-law's memory, and her name is Gladys Weiland, and she's 95 years old, and she graduated from Rapid City High School in 1946. And now, her story is when she was, did you say a sophomore or junior in high school? Were you a sophomore or junior? Oh, you were a senior. And this was during World War II. And World War II was still ongoing. And when it came time to do the pine cone for the yearbook, they had to do the cover in paper because they couldn't get any hardback or anything because it was all going towards the service people. So the pine cone the cover was in paper, and I'd never heard of that before, but I thought that was a good story, Gladys.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Do we have someone else who would tell us about their neighbor? Don't be shy, we're all friends and family here.
I talked to Johnny, and her name actually is Dolores Johnson, and they got it shortened up, and Johnny. She said her great-grandkids just know her as Johnny. And she went to school here. She graduated, I think, in 1955, and she was in band, and she had so many dance performances here in the theater, and then she taught dance and continued to be in the Macy's Day Parade with the Dancing Grannies. So it's quite a history that started here. She was a twirler, and so she has lots of great memories of this building.
Johnny, stand up so we can see you. Sharing your memory. Looks like we have one back there.
My guest here, Mrs. Williamson, I met Larry, didn't catch her first name. She was going to school here, and in the annexes behind the school had home economics. And the teacher decided to take them on a field trip one day. So they went to the meat packing plant, spent some time there, came back, was wearing a sweater, sat down in class, and people around her kind of, whoa, boy, what's going on? And her friend confided with her, you smell like a meat packing plant. I think a dog would even come, and sure enough, a dog wandered into the annex to check her out. So,
How many in this room had the experience of going to the annexes? Yeah, pretty much all of us. All right, who else would share a memory? Our spotters may have to help me here.
I have one here.
Okay.
From my friend Sue Neff Jarvis.
So this isn't my memory, it's my sister's, and she couldn't be here. And I'm going to chop it up, so if anybody has the real details there, feel free to contribute. But she was a sophomore here, and it was during the time when the schools were getting ready to split. So there was a whole lot of kids still going to school here. She graduated in 71, I think, 71. So this would have been 69 probably. She was trying to get to class, and everybody's lockers, all the sophomore lockers, if everybody remembers, was on the 4th floor. And the only way to get there was with the stairs. So all these kids, classes were out, and all the kids were trying to go up the stairs, but they couldn't because all the seniors were sitting on them. And they wouldn't move. So my sister did not have any idea what was going on, but she decided to join them, as everybody else did, because they couldn't get to the 4th floor to go to class. So she sat down with them, and Everybody just sat there quietly. Nobody was causing any trouble. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Knowles came out, threw his hands up and said, "I give up. You win." And this was a peaceful demonstration because they wanted the dress code changed.
Oh,
They wanted to wear jeans and the girls wanted to wear shorter dresses, I think.
a lot of us are probably very thankful for that demonstration. Anyone else willing to share a memory that they heard? There's one down here.
So this is my new friend, Julie Dahl. And Julie remembers having history class in this very room after the fire. She's a class of 1973, and they just had their 50th reunion this last year and had a really good turnout. And their class was about 800, which is huge for today. So, and then we found out that we know each other because my parents are both class of 1971, and she was their neighbor. So, small world.
All right, one more. Will somebody give us one more memory? Oh, over there.
Hi, I'm Todd from class of 77. Anyway, my memory is, you know, the tumbling team, they had pictures on there in the beginning. So my memory is they came in from upstairs here, and they jumped off the balcony onto the floor here and did their dive rolls, and they were flying off the... I don't think they'd let them do that today.
Thank you, Todd. Well, give yourselves a hand. Again, when we started, we talked about the power of place. And there is history still being made every day in these buildings and across the school district. Some of those projects could use your help. More on that in just a minute. But there'll be a film festival in this auditorium on February 10th, which will be part of part 2 of the 100-year celebration. You know, we all probably know there are other buildings in the school district, 22 of them as a matter of fact, and students and staff in each one of those buildings are in the process of preparing short videos about the unique history of each of those buildings. Here's the volunteer opportunity for each one of you. The students are still looking for people to interview about their time at each of those buildings. So as an example, I'm a South Junior High rebel. I could tell you about what it was like in the 70s there. And if you're interested in that or helping, there'll be clipboards at the volunteer tables out there. Just sign up and they will contact you, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. Also on February 10th will be the debut of a historical documentary about the school system by the Youth Institute. The Institute is a character development and digital media program for teens sponsored by the YMCA. And the teens who join YI, or the Youth Institute, gain a place where they can practice digital media arts and find friends and mentors and a community to journey with them along the way. Here is a short clip of their film that will be debuted February 10th, and that film is still in progress.
Born and raised in Rapid City and lived here till I was 23 and got married.
Well, I'm Ron Reed. I have a doctorate in theater.
My name is Gerard Brennan, and as far as my high school years go, I attended Rapid City Central High School between 1969 and 1972.
We were talking before, and I guess I'll go through the whole role.
We went up the stairs and we got into the main open area of the Washington building, And all of a sudden, this heavy black cloud of just thick smoke just hit us like a wall.
I have fond memories of Coolidge. I mean, it was very old. I don't know when it was built, but a lot of it was wooden. I remember wide wooden stairs, and the floors were wooden. And it was kind of a quaint old building, but squeaky floors.
My name is Sharon Rose, and I taught in Rapid City for 20 years, science, and about 5 years of family and consumer science, and most of that was at Dakota Middle School.
I am Deb Steele. I am a 30-year veteran of the Rapid City area schools.
I'm Chris Bierke. I work for Architecture Incorporated, and I was one of the architects on the addition renovation project in 2010 through 2012.
And I'm Jeremy Altman. I also work as an architect with Architecture Incorporated, and I'm currently a volunteer on the Historic Preservation Commission for Rapid City.
I am Rhonda Lipp. I am the principal secretary here at Rapid City High School. Former student back in 1977, fall of 1977, started my sophomore year here. That means I have to confess.
It's just the beauty of being an old building that has had all the tender loving care that it needed and brought back to its glory, and it'll be here for years.
One time it rained and snowed and it froze, and we just watched those cars slide down that hill.
They just left it. That's part of the history.
Man, that's extraordinary. I can hardly wait to see the finished version. So as we prepare to wrap up this beginning of the celebration of 100 years of history, one last assignment for you. If you were ever honored as a Teacher of the Year in a district, in a school, or in the state, will you please stand? Remain standing if you were ever South Dakota's Teacher of the Year. I thought we had one. Maybe not. Thank you to our teachers. So if you are or were a teacher, principal, administrator, custodian, or staff anywhere in the Rapid City District, will you stand and remain standing? Now, if you served in this building, remain standing. Everybody else sit. We are grateful to you. If you are a parent or a grandparent of any student in the district, will you stand? Should be a good mob of you. Now, if you were ever a student here in this building, will you stand or remain standing? Now, keep standing. If you graduated before 2010, sit down. If you graduated before 2000, sit down. But 1990, no, keep standing if you graduated. Well, you know what? I think we're all confused, but I suspect, I probably confused you all. I suspect that nobody can beat Gladys Weiland in the class of 1946. Gladys, thanks for being with us. Do we have somebody else who can beat Gladys in the class of 46?
But he's 47.
47, where's 1947? 49. Thank you for being with us. Let's just keep doing it the other way. Any 1950s grads? Stand up if you graduated in the 50s. If you graduated in the 60s, stand up. There's a group. And how about our graduates from the 70s?